Thanks for joining us. This is OmniView, episode 36 for April 23rd, 2026, Balanced News Perspectives. We'll cover what happened, how different viewpoints frame it, so you can decide for yourself. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer faces open revolt as a Labour MP calls for his resignation amid a growing cabinet rift. A Labour MP has become the first to publicly call on Sir Keir Starmer to resign. The Prime Minister is being challenged by colleagues in cabinet over his handling of a scandal involving Peter Mandelson's security clearance. Sir Keir's chief ally also refused to back his decision to make Sir Ollie Robbins the fall guy after Robbins approved the clearance against advice. McSweeney has been hauled into the Commons for questioning. The Daily Mail frames the events as a rapid draining of support for Starmer, highlighting internal Labour divisions and suggesting his leadership is in serious jeopardy. Guardian coverage notes Starmer appears increasingly isolated, with concerns expressed around the cabinet table and a senior minister refusing to defend the dismissal of Ollie Robbins as fair. Some voices within the party and civil service circles argue for Robbins's reinstatement, viewing the episode as mishandled. These perspectives reflect differing priorities between maintaining party discipline and ensuring perceived fairness in how senior officials are treated. The underlying tension connects to broader questions of accountability and whether personal political survival is being placed above transparent governance. One might ask what specific evidence exists regarding the approval of Mandelson's security clearance against advice, and how internal party rules shape when a backbench MP can call for a leader's resignation. Shifting now to developments in the United States military leadership, the Pentagon announced that U.S. Secretary of the Navy John Phelan has left his post with immediate effect. No explanation was provided for his departure. The move forms part of a broader clear-out of senior military figures under President Donald Trump. It occurs while the United States remains in an unresolved conflict with Iran involving blockades and the Strait of Hormuz. France 24 reports the removal as part of Trump's wider military restructuring during the Iran standoff, noting the lack of stated reasons. The Guardian's Middle East crisis coverage describes a stalemate between the U.S. and Iran over blockades, with Iran claiming 2 seized ships have been transferred to its coast and stating it is impossible to reopen the Strait of Hormuz amid alleged ceasefire breaches. White House statements cited by The Guardian characterized Tehran as being in a very weak position. These accounts reflect differing emphases on whether the U.S. is successfully pressuring Iran or whether the situation is spiraling with mutual escalations. The Navy Secretary's exit adds uncertainty about command continuity during a sensitive naval confrontation. It is worth reflecting on what constitutional and administrative processes govern the sudden removal of a service secretary and how personnel changes at the top of the Navy might affect operational decisions in such a moment. In other international news, Prince Harry has made a surprise visit to Ukraine. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, made an unannounced trip to Ukraine. He is scheduled to speak at a security conference. During the visit, he plans to tell Ukrainians that the world sees them and respects their struggle. The trip comes as he urges the international community not to forget what Ukraine is facing. Daily Mail coverage presents the visit as a notable personal diplomatic gesture by the 41-year-old royal, focusing on his message of solidarity. This framing aligns with values that emphasize humanitarian awareness and continued international attention on the conflict. Other outlets have not yet offered extensive alternative commentary in the provided reports, leaving the dominant narrative centered on Harry's direct engagement with Ukrainian security issues rather than domestic UK political debates. One might consider what security and diplomatic protocols surround royal visits to active conflict zones and how Prince Harry's role as a non-serving royal influences the weight given to his statements. Turning to politics in the United States, candidates for California governor held their first debate. 6 candidates for California governor clashed in their first debate since Eric Swalwell exited the race following sexual assault and misconduct allegations. The discussion focused heavily on homelessness and the cost of living crisis. No clear frontrunner has emerged, and nearly a quarter of voters remain undecided ahead of the June 2nd primary. The race is described as unusually wide open in the heavily Democratic state. The Guardian portrays the debate as reflecting a topsy-turvy contest where traditional party advantages have been disrupted, with candidates sparring over practical governance challenges. Coverage highlights the large number of undecided voters as a sign of voter dissatisfaction or uncertainty. This perspective connects to values prioritizing substantive policy discussion over personality politics in a state facing visible crises in housing and affordability. The sudden withdrawal of a prominent candidate adds a layer of unpredictability that different outlets may interpret as either healthy competition or instability. Listeners might ponder how sexual misconduct allegations against one candidate affect the dynamics of the entire field and what historical precedents exist for wide-open gubernatorial races in the state. Now to Australia, where Queensland Police have taken a notable safety step. Queensland Police have recalled all service-issued Glock handguns after routine testing revealed a malfunction that could cause the weapon to fire multiple shots unintentionally. The .40 caliber Glock has been the standard issue sidearm for officers since the 1990s. Police are retesting the firearms. The discovery has prompted an immediate safety review. The Guardian reports the recall as a precautionary measure following the identification of a technical fault during standard testing. Coverage focuses on public safety and operational reliability for law enforcement. This framing reflects institutional values that place officer and community safety above immediate operational continuity. No conflicting factual claims appear in available reporting. The core facts of the malfunction and recall are presented consistently. It raises interesting points about what testing protocols led to the discovery of this long-standing weapons fault and how police will maintain operational readiness during the recall period. In Europe, a rail accident has drawn attention to transport safety. 2 trains crashed into each other in Denmark. Several people were injured, according to media reports. Emergency services responded to the scene. Details about the cause and severity of injuries remain limited in initial reporting. Deutsche Welle presents the collision as a significant transport incident requiring investigation into rail safety protocols. European outlets tend to focus on the human impact and the need for thorough accident inquiries. This coverage reflects broader European interest in maintaining high standards of public transport infrastructure and rapid accountability when failures occur. The absence of immediate claims about systemic negligence suggests reporting is staying close to confirmed facts while investigations continue. One could consider what signaling or operational factors may have contributed to the collision and how Denmark's rail safety standards compare with other European countries. A striking claim has emerged from an Iranian official channel regarding weather and conflict. Iran's embassy account posted a claim that bombing a facility in the United Arab Emirates altered weather patterns in the region. The statement has circulated on social media. It links military action to environmental consequences. The scientific basis for the specific claim has not been independently verified in available reporting. Discussion on platforms such as Reddit's r/geopolitics treats the claim with skepticism, viewing it as potentially propagandistic rather than evidence-based. Some observers see it as an attempt to frame military actions in environmental terms to garner international sympathy or deflect attention. Others note the difficulty of establishing causal links between specific strikes and weather events. It prompts the thought of what evidence would be needed to substantiate a link between bombing and regional weather changes, and how readers should evaluate extraordinary claims made by official accounts. Now, to really understand several of these stories involving military leadership changes, international alliances, and defense dependencies, there is a deeper layer that most coverage leaves out. At the heart of many current tensions is the question of how nations balance immediate operational needs with longer-term strategic autonomy. When a country like the United Kingdom relies heavily on another power for key military capabilities, sudden shifts in that partner's leadership or policy can create real vulnerabilities. Similarly, removing senior officials during an active naval confrontation, as seen with the U.S. Navy Secretary, raises immediate questions about continuity of command and institutional knowledge. The EU discussion on mutual defense obligations under Article 42.7 attempts to address this by trying to turn treaty language into practical plans, yet the gap between legal commitments and actual deployable forces remains significant. Think of it as a chain, where each link depends on the reliability and availability of the others. Next time you hear reports of alliance strain or sudden personnel changes in defense roles, ask yourself which specific capabilities are truly interdependent and whether current events are exposing those dependencies or merely accelerating planned adjustments. This lens helps cut through framing that presents every shakeup as either crisis or decisive reform. Before we go, tomorrow watch for further updates on the U.S.-Iran blockade stalemate and any signals about potential personnel announcements in the American military chain of command. That's OmniView. For full source links and more context, check out today's written briefing on the OmniView summaries page. As always, compare outlets, look for primary documents, and separate what's known from what's assumed. If balanced perspectives are valuable to you, share this with a friend and subscribe wherever you listen. See you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.
Without taking the dive, we went on vacation. We had a nice time. My doomsday is set.